You've seen the Invincible series. You've seen one possible version of the future. But just how powerful is Mark? If he truly becomes Emperor. By the end of Season 3, Mark demonstrated incredible strength. But that's still far from his peak. Spoilers ahead. If you don't want any, I suggest turning off this video. Before his fight with Conquest, Mark was always trying to hold back his strength to avoid seriously harming his opponents. Mark himself admits this in Season 2, Episode 1, but gradually his personality starts to change, especially with the arrival of Oliver. It's Oliver who shows Mark that sometimes you shouldn't hold back. Some villains won't, and they will try to kill him. Mark had started to realize this earlier. For example, when he threatened Cecil, saying he would kill him if he ever came near his family. But he didn't fully embrace that philosophy until much later. If we look back at his battle with Conquest, we might think Mark is now the second strongest being in the Invincible universe, but...
Actually, Adam Eve helped him.
Yeah, thanks. Anyway, even though Mark beat Conquest, it wasn't solely with his own strength. Adam Eve helped. Still, it was an impressive achievement that made him at least an elite soldier of the Viltrumite Empire. Later, Mark faced Conquest again, and finally defeated him with minimal help from Nolan and Oliver. Speaking of Nolan and Oliver, if we take a look at Mark's lineage, it's clear that he's practically a pure-blood Viltrumite, making him one of the strongest in the Invincible universe. Mark is 50% human and 50% Viltrumite. We were told earlier that humans are nearly 99% genetically compatible with Viltrumites, making Mark Grayson rather unique, effectively a pure-blood Viltrumite. Mark's father, Nolan Grayson, is also a powerful Viltrumite, and his grandfather, Emperor Argal. Mark basically won the genetic lottery to become the strongest being alive. Not long after defeating Conquest, Mark and Nolan had an arm wrestling match, and their strength was equal. Keep in mind, Mark was only about 23 to 26 years old at that point, with limited combat experience, while Nolan was an elite Viltrumite veteran with years of planetary conquest, strategy, and insane strength.
So Mark is already almost as strong as Nolan?
Yes, and that's what's so fascinating. We're watching Mark grow not just as a hero, but as potentially the strongest Viltrumite of all time. His strength doesn't just increase, he adapts. After returning from another planet where he spent years, his combat skills improved dramatically. He didn't just learn to fight, he learned to win. Quickly, efficiently, without emotion. He's colder now, more resolute. His fighting style no longer screams, "I don't want to kill you." Now it's, "If you're a threat, I'll eliminate you." And this is the beginning of the era of Emperor Mark. Emperor Mark isn't a villain, but he's not the naive teenager we once knew. He's become someone else, a leader, someone who bears responsibility, someone who makes the hard choices. And if peace requires erasing someone from existence, he'll do it. That's what makes him so dangerous. Because he has power, and he has the will to use it. But Mark's strength isn't just about punches, flight, or arm wrestling his dad. His real strength lies in who he's become as a person.
You mean moral growth?
Exactly. Think back to Season 1. He wanted to be a hero like in the comics. He believed everyone could be saved, but the world was much harsher. He was beaten, betrayed, manipulated. He saw death. He lost loved ones. And through all that, Mark didn't become cruel. He didn't turn into a dictator. He became responsible. He realized that strength isn't just about beating someone. It's a duty. He learned to forgive, but not betrayal. He became patient, but won't let anyone threaten his loved ones. He doesn't seek violence, but in battle he's ruthless. That's true maturity. And in a world where power is everything, that's what makes Mark the ideal leader. Jordan, okay, back to the main question. Just how strong is Emperor Mark? Plainly put, Mark can destroy a planet. Literally. We've seen Viltrumites break through Earth's crust, fly through mountains, and demolish buildings like cardboard. And Mark is stronger than most of them. He's broken Viltrumite bones. He's killed them. He's survived blows that tore others apart. His body adapts, gets tougher. He heals faster. But power isn't just brute force. He can fly faster than light, fight in space, endure the gravity of black holes. And on top of that, he's a strategist. He's not just brute muscle. He thinks 3 steps ahead. He finds weaknesses, uses his environment, builds a plan. In theory, at his peak, he could take on entire armies. For example, he could single-handedly destroy the coalition of planets' fleet. Not easily, not instantly, but he could. All because of a unique combination of genetics, experience, and motivation. But if we bring up the coalition of planets, we can't forget Alan the alien, who can resurrect with medical help and each time come back stronger. That potential is infinite, which, in theory, makes him capable of defeating Mark. We saw a fight between Alan and Mark once, but Trag suddenly appeared and helped Mark. Speaking of Trag, in their final battle, Mark and Trag fought on the sun. Like literally, where the temperature reaches 9,930 degrees Fahrenheit, and the most they suffered were some burns. During that fight, Mark likely got a huge dose of adrenaline, something Trag, as a full Viltrumite, doesn't have. And there's a fan theory that this adrenaline boosts Mark's attributes, pushing him to the edge. This ability comes solely from his human DNA, and it saved him more than once. This human factor is distinctive to him. Unlike the Viltrumites, Mark is able to drive himself to his limits emotionally. He has the so-called adrenaline surge, fueling briefly his body's powers. When his feelings reach their boiling point, either fury or defending somebody, he grows stronger. That's how he managed to stay even with Trag, even with the difference in physiques.
Such as the times where Mark, having fallen into an angry fury, destroys his enemies. You're telling me it's not about training or genes?
Precisely so. A combination of adaptive biology and survival instinct of humans. Mark is not some genetically engineered individual. He became who he is due to his passion to protect those that he loves, and this strengthens him at times of crisis. He's powerful not only physically, but emotionally and morally because he is human. That puts him at an advantage over anyone, even including Trag and other Viltrumites.
So, his humanness is the wild card that renders him truly invincible?
Exactly. We've witnessed the power of the Viltrumites, but there is that missing human emotion that sets Mark apart. When it comes to survival, the Viltrumites use only brute power. And Mark, he is a combination of strength, will, and potential to grow. Not only physical strength, but inner strength. Even if he has to combat Alan, who comes back to life and grows more powerful after dying, Mark wouldn't be at a disadvantage necessarily. He may never be immortal, but his resilience to adapt and to exceed himself always leaves him with an opportunity to triumph. And yes, you're absolutely right. His humanity is what truly makes him invincible. It's not just the adrenaline, it's his deep emotional bonds. He has something to fight for. People to love, unlike most Viltrumites across the multiverse. His empathy, capacity for love, compassion, friendship, and support, all of it makes Mark truly invincible. People make memes about Mark. They laugh at him, call him Vincible, say he can almost die from simple villains. But physical power is just a facade. The same facade of masculinity I broke down in a previous video. You should check it out. Anyway, just because Mark looks vincible on the outside doesn't mean he is inside. Inside, he's much stronger. Not just because of willpower, but because of support and love.
Yeah, that support and affection render him spiritually invincible, not to mention his physical invincibility.
Yes, his relationship to the individuals he cares about and guards is what grants him such strength. Though his body is wounded, his spirit remains unbroken. It is like an inner shield guarding him not only against physical suffering, but emotional disintegration. His greatest strength lies in his humanity. He is not flawless. He is not invulnerable conventionally, but he doesn't give up.
Thus, according to the theory of his invisible strength based on emotional and moral resilience, he's nearly invincible, isn't he?
Yes, precisely. Although Mark is not classically immortal, his mental toughness and resilience to withstand any test render him really invincible. In clashes with Conquest, Trag, or others who challenge him to his limits, it is his capacity to rebound, his mental toughness and determination to continue, which puts him at an advantageous position. Jordan, he doesn't break, and that is what enables him to endure and triumph, no matter what the odds are.
In one sense, not even sheer power can defeat him?
Precisely. We've witnessed him suffer, be battered, but he never loses the strength to stand up again. Even if his body is destroyed, his soul is still intact. He does not lose himself if he loses the battle. That is what the series keeps repeating time after time. He hurts, yet he continues pushing forward. And that is what makes him so powerful. Because strength in the world of Invincible does not only exist in the physical, it exists in the soul. He is not one who desires power itself, however. His physical vigor, as well as his character, qualifies him to be the one to lead. And he'll be prepared to lead his race into battle if he has to. Most importantly, he'll recall that it is not all about winning. It is all about what remains after him. That's what makes him a leader worth following. And after becoming Emperor, Mark completely rejected the Viltrumite past. He changed his suit from red and white to blue and white. He didn't grow the iconic mustache, a clear sign that the bloody past of the Viltrumites is behind him.
Oh, so you mean his change in appearance is symbolic, like a statement that he's no longer like the Viltrumites?
Precisely. This change from red-white to blue-white, the absence of the mustache, it's not just a stylistic decision. It's his way of saying he rejects the legacy of violence and conquest associated with the Viltrumites. Those colors and symbols are reminders of a brutal imperial past, and Mark is stepping away from that to create something new. It's a visual signal that he's no longer following the path the Viltrumites carved out. He's not their tyrant. He's forging a new identity, not just in how he looks, but in how he leads. Blue and white stand for peace and hope, directly contrasting the red of war and destruction. It's another example of how his humanity and personal growth make him even stronger. He understands that true strength isn't just physical, it's the courage to evolve and lead with purpose. His appearance reflects an internal transformation. He's not just a new emperor, he's a different kind of leader. One ready to build a future where the Viltrumite past stays buried.
Okay, whatever. Let's get back to the main theme. How does Mark compare to Battle Beast, Trag, and Alan? How strong is he next to them?
It's a bit complicated. Each of them brings a different kind of threat with their own unique strengths. Starting with Battle Beast, he's a brutal warrior, incredibly strong and durable. But his real advantage lies in his sheer endurance and skill in combat. Still, he was ultimately killed by Trag in their final battle, which shows that even with all his power, he couldn't overcome Trag's superior strength. Now, Trag is a more complex opponent. He's incredibly strong as a Viltrumite, no question, but he lacks the human traits that Mark has. In their fight on the sun, Trag had the physical edge, but Mark relied on both his emotional resilience and his physical uniqueness to win. Trag can't adapt or respond on an instinctual level the way Mark can, thanks to his human DNA. So even though Trag had more raw power, Mark still beat him. As for Alan, in terms of brute force and endurance, he might top the list. Thanks to his regeneration and the fact that he grows stronger every time he dies, he's an overwhelming force. But that doesn't make him unbeatable. Mark's adaptability, emotional intensity, and tactical thinking give him the edge with the right strategy. A fight between the two could last indefinitely, since Alan keeps coming back stronger. But in the long run, Mark's versatility and deep understanding of his own powers would likely win out.
So we can say that Mark may not always be physically stronger than those characters, but his adaptability, moral resilience, and human emotion, that's his trump card. If they fought on equal terms, Mark would probably win against all of them.
Exactly. Mark's strength isn't just in his body or his combat skills, it's in his ability to adapt, to make difficult choices, and to tap into his humanity. Even if Battle Beast, Trag, or Alan surpass him in brute force, they don't have his emotional depth or flexibility, and that's what sets him apart. That's his greatest advantage. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and put a like if you liked it. Write a comment and I will reply.